Hello and welcome to Using Yoga to Reduce Stress and Anxiety. This is lesson 16, the last one in this series, and we'll begin lying down on our spines, supine position, head comfortably, maybe resting on a folded up towel or blanket. Go ahead and move all the way down as I stay seated just to help me read the portions of the book that I wanted to touch on today, our last day. So, in your supine savasana, take some care to get your body into a very comfortable position. Maybe your knees are bent, maybe they're straight, doesn't matter. Let your body settle for a few moments and start to pay attention to the breath, though trying not to change it. And then, as you are ready, begin to slow your breath down. It's best to practice in savasana and in meditation with our eyes closed. This helps us shut out the things that might ordinarily grab our attention. I've mentioned a few times that I read from a book called Yoga for Anxiety: Meditations and Practices for Calming the Body and Mind by Mary Stearns. And I really have enjoyed using this book and sharing it with you. We'll do a mindfulness practice as you lie there that is um, sort of geared toward letting you realize that you don't have to separate your meditation practice from your daily life. You can witness your thoughts and focus on your breath or your mantra whenever you remember to. And maybe when you do it all the time, just several times throughout the day, not all the time, but consistently, I guess is what I was trying to get to, then it happens more often that you then use that being able to witness your thoughts and focus on your breath or your mantra in those more difficult situations. Practicing meditation in this way during the day is called mindfulness practice. And to make this clearer for you, we'll define mindfulness. A simple definition is a non judgmental acceptance of things as they arise in the present moment. And it involves noticing what's happening inside of you and outside of you. So you can see things as they are. An easy example is relating to your worrisome thoughts mindfully, which is simply responding to them the way you do when you meditate. It's the same. When a worry arises, you witness it and then you place your attention back onto your breath. So when you notice a thought like, oh no, what's going to happen? Recognize it as a thought. Recognize it as a worrisome thought, name it, and return your focus to your breath. Taking that breath is nourishing and it reorients you to what you're doing and where you are. Breathing intentionally pops you out of your thought trance and it provides immediate relief because it puts space between you and your fretting. Mindfulness or non judgmental witnessing is a tall order. It's hard because it entails getting in touch with what you experience moment to moment. You can only witness what you allow yourself to be aware of. And as someone who's prone to stress and anxiety, you have a natural tendency to want to detach or to escape from it. And now you're being counseled to get back in touch with it, to witness it. So, next is a section on allowing what is. I want you to continue breathing. I do have about 7 pages is all to get through in terms of reading to you. And one of the things about reducing your stress and anxiety is being able to let go while you're lying down. And so take what I'm reading to you with a grain of salt, put it down if it doesn't apply to you, but learn what you can from it. So, mindfulness involves accepting what is, and it's through this acceptance that our anxiety is reduced. This acceptance includes our thoughts, our emotions, and physical sensations, even pain. It's impossible to accept what you don't allow yourself to be aware of. And so, let's apply this to stress and anxiety. Allow signifies consenting to, letting it be, and giving yourself permission to feel anxious. You recognize that you don't want to feel anxious and that you're probably whispering, why would I want to feel anxious? But the answer is that doing so empowers you to breathe through your anxiety so that your resistance doesn't intensify or cause you to be paralyzed by your anxiety or your stress. And here's how it works. Focusing on your breathing steadies you so that you don't get lost in worry or overwhelmed by anxiety. It's a physiological reset to center the calm hormones and produce those and allow the body to deeply relax, like what you're doing now. Leaning on your breath allows you to witness anxiety. Anxiety can be intense, but you don't get swept away by it when you remember to breathe and to breathe deeply. We're lucky because our breath is our constant companion. So let it steady you so that you can focus and observe your anxiety. Learn about anxiety in a precise way. How long does yours last? What's its level of intensity each time? What escalates it? What calms it down? When you take the mystery out of stress and anxiety, it loses some of its hold on you. And when you discover that you can breathe through anxiety, you become less trapped in its spell. Allowing is not related to being passive. It doesn't mean non action. In fact, it's a precursor to empowered action because without the ability to see clearly, there's no insight. If what you know is distorted or incomplete, your decisions are misinformed. So the best choices arise out of a more accurate understanding. Therefore, let yourself see what is, allow whatever arises in your experience without distorting it or changing it. Let's do a little mindfulness. Let's go deeper, really, in our practice for mindfulness right now. Let's just stop for a moment, breathe, and ask what's going on in your body with your thoughts now. Pause. Focus, sense into your body. Notice sensations. Scan for any tensions and for non tension. Tune in to your emotions. Listen for your thoughts. Register what's happening in your experience. Smile gently to yourself and say, I allow this experience. And notice any tendency to recoil. Smile at your aversion if you notice one or sense one and say, I allow even this. The next step is to name what is. Give your internal experiences a name. Let's return to the earlier example of the thought, oh no, what's going to happen? Allow that thought so that you can become aware of it and then focus on breathing in and out. And now name it. This is a thought. The act of naming has the effect of creating a little distance from that experience without suppressing it. If what you're experiencing is an emotion or a sensation, you can also name those: anger, jealousy, pain, stiffness. When you're afraid, let yourself notice your tight muscles, your racing heart. Breathe and name your experience. You can say, "This is fear," and you can breathe again. At this point, something helpful happens. You're still frightened, but not totally encased in your fear. Naming gives you a little room. Your breath can now become more full, and you've experienced what is without being confined in it. I'm going to read one more little section, then we're going to get to a low, gentle flow. And as we settle ourselves in puppy dog pose or child's pose, when we've come down to the mat from standing, I'll read a little more. So, putting mindfulness together with breath awareness. Mindfulness puts you in touch with life, and focusing on your breathing is the lifeline that helps you do this. For that reason, breath awareness is central to mindfulness, which is central to reducing stress and anxiety. It puts you back inside your body and it gets you out of your thoughts. If you don't want to miss out on life, practice being aware of your breath coming in and going out. And I think that's a great place to stop in order to feel our breath coming in and out as we practice a gentle flow. Let's all begin to wiggle our fingers and our toes. Let's start there. Maybe moving super slowly at first, but then trying to bend each knuckle through the entire range of motion in your hands, your feet, your fingers, and your toes. And if your legs happen to be straight, as you're ready, bend up through each knee, set each foot onto the floor, heels some distance away from hips, knees comfortable, feet pressing into the floor, holding up the legs here. Now, let's draw each knee into the chest one at a time or both together, and we'll wrap our arms around our legs, or we'll take a strap and wrap it around the shins and allow ourselves to pull our legs in a little tighter, just letting the body adjust to some movement here. We're actually massaging our organs in the lower part of our torso doing this. Let's inhale and lift our feet now towards the sky. Let's wiggle our toes, point and flex our feet. Use our hands and arms perhaps to support our legs, maybe leaving them down by our sides, out somewhat away from the body and the mat, palms down. And we'll start a yoga walk, stretching up through each leg, bending the knee and then straightening heel, toe, stretching through the foot. And then as you're ready, let your feet and legs float down to the floor, knees bent to the sky, all four corners of each foot pressing into the floor. Let's now inhale and lift the right leg only. So the foot floats up. We'll try to straighten that knee as much as we can. We'll press through this heel And let's either take a strap or use our hand somewhere along the leg. And we'll inhale, stretching the sole of the foot to the ceiling, keeping the sacrum planted to the floor. Exhale, draw your right leg toward you. Let's get a quick hamstring stretch here. As your leg gets tired, let's bend through the knee and come into piriformis stretch. Right knee bends out to the side. Right ankle is being propped up by the left knee and leg. Let's push this right thigh away with our right hand or right palm. Or we can lift our left foot off the mat, interlace our hands back behind the left thigh, and then draw the legs toward us. We could also use a strap around the legs and use this as a means to draw both knees toward you. Take a few breaths here in this piriformis stretch. If it feels good to rock your head from left to right, do that. Loosening things up. Now let's bring our nose back towards the ceiling or sky. We're going to move from piriformis stretch into a twist by releasing the left foot to the floor. It's going to float down, pressing into the floor with the left foot. Release your left knee towards the left side of the mat. Right foot is getting closer and closer to the floor. You might stay here with the left leg still propped up. You might put a block there. You can release that knee all the way to the floor if your spine is okay with that. You can adjust your legs here. Nothing says you have to keep your legs in figure four shape. You can move your chin over to your right shoulder, looking away from your bent knees. Take a few breaths here. Now, on the next inhale, bring your chin and nose back up to center. We'll lift the right leg off the left, bring them both back to center. So both hips are even side to side. Our knees are still bent to the sky, and our gaze is staring upward. Arms are wherever they're comfortable. Inhale to lift the left leg towards the ceiling. We're going to stretch through this left heel. We're keeping our sacrum glued to the floor. And then we'll bend that left knee out to the side, come into figure four or piriformis stretch on the opposite side. And let's first send the right thigh away with the right palm. Sorry, left thigh with left palm, my bad. And then we can lift the right foot, interlace our hands back behind, or use a strap to draw the legs toward us, stretching the piriformis, keeping the chin somewhat tucked here, neck and the back long. And we'll take a few breaths here, pressing through the left heel, keeping that left leg active. Using your breath, using your mantra if you're having thoughts that are negative or worrisome. What happens if? So now let's begin to release this right leg. We'll let the right foot float down to the mat, pressing all four corners of the right foot into the mat. Let the right knee begin to lower. So then two of the corners of the foot are going to lift, right? As that left foot comes closer down to the ground, maybe all the way there. Coming into your piriformis twist here, taking a few breaths, maybe moving your chin to look across the left arm and hand. Take a few more breaths here, making your sides even and really just keeping a gentle flow to our practice this morning. Now, with your next inhale, move your chin and nose back up towards the sky. We'll lift the left leg and the right, coming back to center. Let's bring both knees into the chest, wrap the arms around both legs. We're going to kind of settle the spine into the ground, into the mat. And let's rock from side to side with our knees in. Maybe we're using a strap, maybe not. Making your yoga your own. Now from here, we'll come into a full body stretch. So we'll let go of the legs, knees float away from the chest, feet contact the floor. We'll straighten both knees, sending the feet to the bottom of the mat. Arms are now by our sides. Let's inhale our arms up and back behind the head and take a few breaths here to stretch through your feet, your fingers and thumb, the top of your head. You're trying to elongate your whole body. And then on the next exhale, we'll let our arms come back down by our side. And let's rest here for just a second. We're just taking a couple of breaths in between. Now, on the next inhale, draw your arms up and back behind the head. We'll come into Banana Asana by walking both feet over to the left side of the mat, then both hands and arms over to the left side. Feel the right ribs opening. Now cross right ankle over left and place your right palm on top of the left palm. Send a few breaths into the side ribs that are opened. Maybe say your mantra. Use your mindfulness techniques. Looking for insight, looking for connection, paying attention to our thoughts because this is where we have some good ones about how to make our lives better. Let's walk our hands and feet back to the center. We'll release our arms down by our side and let's take that same little tiny break, letting the body lie here in neutral for a moment. And now, as you're ready on the next inhale, we'll draw the arms up and back. One more time, full body stretch. Then we'll walk our hands and feet over to the right side of the mat. Feel the left ribs opening. Cross that left ankle. Place left palm on top. Breathe into the left side body as your hands and feet inched over to the right, using the breath. Good. And now let's bring hands and feet back to center. We'll draw our arms on the next exhale back down by our sides. And from here, let's come up to a seated position by bending up through each knee, rolling over onto one side with the top hand pressing down into the floor. We'll lift up away from our mat and we'll come into a seated butterfly. I hope you have something you can elevate your hips with. I'm using one more fold in my blanket For this pose, we'll draw our toes and heels towards one another, knees bent out to the side, and we'll use our blocks to help support the legs as they release out and open. I'm going to read one. I'm going to finish a paragraph here, try to separate this a little bit. You know what it's like to watch a movie and become distracted by worrying about tomorrow, and you can miss an entire conversation on the screen and then refocus again there and try to figure out what's going on. You turn to your friend, maybe who's also watching, and ask, "What did he say?" And your friend answers your question, and you both miss the ongoing conversation between the actors. So now two people scramble to catch up with the movie. Now let's say that you watch the movie and practice mindfulness. Most of your attention is on what you see and hear on the screen, and a small part of your attention focuses on your breaths in and out movement. And as a result, you're less likely to be taken away from your thoughts, but when you do, you more quickly realize it. Focusing on the continuous flow of your breath keeps you observant, and it prevents you from being consumed by thinking. So not only do you suffer less from worrying about the next day, but you also avoid missing as much of the movie or diverting your friend's attention away from the screen. All right. Let's move from our butterfly shape here to a half straddle by stretching out one leg to the side. Doesn't matter which one. Let's press through the heel of the extended leg. Maybe you adjust the knee that's bent. And we're sitting up nice and tall, sitting up, trying to draw the crown of our head to the ceiling. From here, let's work on hamstring stretches and lateral stretches, and we'll even get a gentle twist in. We'll start by turning toward the extended leg. We can kind of push away from this bent knee or shin. We'll inhale, lengthening our spine. Exhale, let's draw our chest and body forward using our hands to support us, maybe walking or sliding them away. Keep pressing through the heel of this leg that you're looking toward and feel the long stretch back behind the thigh, the knee. As you press through your heel, feel that action throughout the calf muscle, the shin muscle. Excellent. From here, we'll leave the same hand on the leg. We'll turn our chest towards the bent knee by drawing the shoulder up. So we're going to get a lateral stretch here. We can reach our hand away from us, kind of in line with the body here. And when you're ready to inhale, let's sit all the way up nice and tall first. And then we'll inhale the arm up. Exhale, release. Good. Inhale to lift. Exhale, release. We'll turn towards this bent knee, and now we'll get our gentle twist in. The opposite hand from the extended leg is back behind you, drawing open this shoulder as you look to the side wall. And breathe, sitting up nice and tall. Exhale, come back to center, and let's switch sides. This time, opposite knee bends. We're pressing through the extended leg heel. We're keeping this leg active for our hamstring stretch. So we'll turn our body toward the extended leg. Inhale to find our length, our seated length. Exhale, walk the hands forward. Keep the back relatively straight. As straight as you can. It's more of a lift than a lower, so that you can activate the muscles all along this leg. Feeling your toes pointing back at you. Now we'll leave the same hand on that side with that leg as we turn our chest and start to lift the opposite shoulder, drawing it up and back. Now let's inhale, coming all the way up and down. We'll stretch the free hand out by our side. Inhale, lifts that arm out and up. Exhale, releases it overhead, opening those side ribs once again. We'll inhale, coming straight up and down. Exhale, use this as a twist. Maybe bring opposite hand to the outer knee. Maybe draw your chin towards your shoulder. And then release, bring your chest back to center. We're going to make our way to a kneeling position and then to a standing position. So moving in whatever way works for your body to stand up. Getting our props out of the way. Let's begin a balance pose. Let's come to tree pose. So you may not be able to see my arms when I lift, but that's okay. Standing with both feet hip distance apart, all four corners of each foot, pressing into the mat and into the floor. Hands are on hips by your side at your heart, however you best like to, keep them still. Let's move with our right knee to allow our left knee to be the standing leg, our left leg standing. So we'll lift that right knee and kind of toe tap here. We're setting up the left foot to help us in our quest to balance. We can move that right foot closer to the left leg. We don't have to. We can move the right foot onto the left leg anywhere but the knee, but we don't have to. We want to practice using our breathing. So we're concentrating on all these things. We get into this pose and then we sink into our breath. So allow yourself a moment to do that in tree here, growing your branches as high as you'd like, lifting your arms any amount or none. And then we'll release our arms slowly first. We'll draw the right knee back towards the front and then release the foot. Let's step side to side, shake the legs out, the feet. And then let's come back to our center where we find our center. We find our grounding between both feet evenly. This time that right leg stands, left knee bends. We'll start to toe tap, fixing that right foot until we're ready to draw the left knee out to the side. Perhaps bring the heel in or not. Perhaps bring the foot up or not, anywhere but the knee. Drawing the knee, the bent knee, out to the side and back behind you, using the action of your right foot and leg to help you balance. Lift as much or as little as you want. And then release the arms down slowly. Draw the knee in, release the foot. Step side to side, shaking out the leg. Next, we'll do a standing flow between hero 1 and hero 2, coming toward the top of your mat or at the top of your mat, however you're best comfortable. Let's step our left foot back first, and we'll turn the left toes to a diagonal. We'll bend our right knee, and we'll move our right hips forward towards the knee and the short end of the mat. We're pressing into our right foot, and we're not letting the knee travel forward of the ankle. So we're keeping that knee back nice and safe. We have a little stretch here in the back leg on the left. And we'll move our arms into hero one by inhaling, lifting the cactus arms, lifting into a V. Maybe your biceps are by your ears. If you'd like, you can lean the upper body forward, bring the hands to the heart, and then press on that forward foot to lift the chest up away from that forward thigh. And now let's lift up our back heel. So we're pressing onto the left toes. We're going to turn the foot to come 90 degrees from the front right foot, and we'll come into our hero two. Now our hips are facing diagonal along the long edge of the mat. We can keep our hands by our side in hero two, or we can inhale them out and up. Holding the arms here, finding that tension through the hands, reaching the fingertips away from each other. Spine is long. You're pressing down through your feet to lengthen through the spine. Nice. Let's exhale, release the arms down by our sides. We'll straighten the right the right knee. Turn the foot, so we'll lift the heel. Press into the heel, lift the toes this time. Then we'll walk our feet, heel toe, or step our legs together. All right, let's come back to the top of the mat. This time we'll step the right foot back. Find your warrior one. Lower legs. Not that you have upper legs. Bend through the left knee this time. Right toes facing a diagonal. Hips turned towards the short end of the spine. The mat. We are facing the side wall now. Inhale the arms up, out to cactus, V. Again, biceps by the ears, whatever you like, maybe keeping them down by your sides or close in by the side body. If you'd like, you can begin to lean the upper body forward. Find that diagonal. Bring your hands to your heart. Stay here for a breath. And then inhale to come back up, shoulders stack almost over hips. This time we lift the heel and we adjust it so that our toes on the right are 90 degrees from the left forward leg. Find your hero two legs, and then inhale, arms out and up. Find the tension through the arms, stretching through the shoulders, nice. Feet pressing into the floor, crown of the head lifting. Take another couple of breaths here. And then as you're ready, let the next exhale release your hands. We'll straighten that left knee, press into the left heel, rotate the foot forward, walk the legs together, stepping, shaking them out. Let's now come into chair pose. We can inhale the arms out and up. We'll exhale, hands to the heart. And as our arms are releasing, elbows coming lower and lower, we'll sink our hips down and back, bending the knees more and more. Maybe we bring our thighs to parallel like some people can. Maybe we don't. Find the length in the upper body by pressing down through all corners. Both feet. Nice. Release as you're ready. Inhaling, straightening the knees, coming up to standing. You can do two more of these if you'd like as you're ready. Moving at your own pace, exhaling to release into your chair. And then inhale to come back to your mountain. You can take breaths in between or release back into your chair right away. Doing what works for you to make yoga your own. All right, after that workout of a few chairs, let's come down to the floor, maybe through a squat, maybe not. We're going to set up our mat for either child's pose or puppy dog pose. So your cushion, if you have one, can be below your knees. We'll touch our big toes together from table or kneeling. We'll walk our knees out wide. We'll sink our hips back and down. We can use one or two blocks to kind of sink our hips onto, um, if that works for you. Giving your body a little more support. If keeping your hips lifted above your knees works better, come into puppy dog from table. Knees are hip distance apart, heels and ankles, toes in line with those knees and hips. And we're draping the upper body down and forward, arms lifted up overhead. Maybe we're resting our forehead on a block, whether we're in puppy dog or child's pose. Take a few breaths here. And let's talk about walking a path of mindfulness. A lovely form of a mindfulness practice is walking meditation. In this meditation that you can do later, you will walk slowly, taking small steps and coordinating your movement with your breath. Take a few steps on each in-breath and each out-breath. Let your breath be comfortable, noticing each foot as it steps forward. Feel where your feet touch the ground or the floor. Paying attention to how your heel steps down, how your foot rolls, and how you push off from the front of your foot with each step. Paying attention like this helps you to be in the present moment rather than getting ahead of yourself. As you do this, enjoy your breathing and your walking, doing this leisurely, slowly, relaxing as you stroll. Walk to walk. You're not hurrying to some destination. You're not wandering mindlessly. And most importantly, I think you're not walking to get exercise. You are paying attention to your experience in the present moment while walking. And when you practice outdoors, look around as you slowly walk. Feel the movement of the air, the temperature of the air in your surroundings. Take in the sights and the sounds while coordinating your breath with your movement. This will train you to be aware of what's happening in you and also to be aware of what's going on around you in the present moment. Another favorite thing to do is to step outdoors on your patio and just kind of watch the nature around you. See if you can stand in your surroundings, transfixed for a moment outside, absorbed in the present moment. Then, when you go back inside, notice if you're refreshed, soothed. You can practice mindful walking in any place, and it's beneficial to practice it even for a few moments. You can practice the walking meditation indoors too, and it's a great alternative to nervous pacing. Intentional focusing makes all the difference. Breathing out, taking 3 small steps, looking at the floor. Breathing in, step, um, 3 small steps again, and notice the colors. And on you go, observing, striding. Continue walking until you feel calm, which is how you'll know that you've engaged in the relaxation response. Let's move from our position here into a seated position once again. Propping our hips up, coming to the easy pose, butterfly, a straddle, however you're comfortable, a kneel. Sitting up on the sits bones, nice and tall if you're comfortable, your legs in any shape or position. Let's take a few sun breaths, inhaling to lift the arms out and up, and exhaling to release the arms back down by our side. Inhale, arms come out and up. Exhale, arms release out and down. Take a few more sun breaths at your own pace. And next, we'll transition all the way to the floor into our supine position. And we'll bend our knees towards the sky. Let's have a block nearby for supported bridge. With the block in one hand, nose and chin pointed to the sky. Let's press down through both feet with knees bent. We'll peel our hips up off the mat and we'll slide the block at its lowest level right underneath our sacrum. And let's just release the sacrum onto the block. It's that flat bone in your hips, above your sits bones, below your lumbar spine. So we've released our hips and our spine onto the block. If you'd like to press down through both feet with your nose up to the sky and lift the block to the medium level and release your sacrum there, you can. If that's too intense, you can bring it back down. You can keep both knees bent. You can straighten your legs one at a time. In this shape, you can straighten both legs. Keep your toes pointed to the sky. And then feel the toes reaching out to the sides as you rock. Maybe your feet back and forth. If your knees are both straight or one is straight, bend up through that leg or legs. We'll press into the feet again, lift the hips and the spine, remove the block, and we'll come into the seed pose, drawing one or both knees in towards the body. And let's next rock from side to side here. We'll bring our nose and chin back up to center. And from here, let's float our feet to the floor and we'll come into windshield wipers. From windshield wipers, come into a twist to one side. So just a few windshield wipers. Then move into your twist. Maybe that's with your knees a little closer to your chest. Maybe it's not. It's from the windshield wiper position. You decide. And take a few breaths with arms out wide like wings or in cactus arm shape. Two to three more breaths here. And now on your next inhale, we'll lift the knees back to center. And either from your windshield wiper position or from your knees to chest position, come into your twist on the opposite side, slowly making your way with your knees to one side, your chin to the other, arms in position, releasing the body here. Take 2 to 3 more breaths. Good. And now on your next inhale, move your chin back to center. Lift your legs. Come back into either the windshield wipers or knees to chest, rocking side to side. Take 2 to 3 more breaths here. Move from wherever you are now into student choice. Let your body find a twist, find happy baby. Let your body draw you where it wants to go, to whatever stretch or motion or stillness your body still needs and wants to experience. Finding your way into your most comfortable Shavasana position, lying down on your spine. The next section is on implementing mindfulness. Practicing all of the elements of mindfulness, being aware of breathing, allowing, noticing, naming your inner experiences, and taking in the details of where you are, your surroundings, results in your living in life's present, moment to moment unfolding. Of course, this is easier said than done. Fortunately, you have endless opportunities to practice, and practicing is quite fun. Here's how you do it. When you brush your teeth, notice where your toothbrush is in your mouth. Feel its pressure, taste the toothpaste, your saliva, and of course, notice that you're breathing in and out. And with thoughts arise, name them as thoughts or thinking. When you feel rushed, name this experience rushing. That's a lot to be conscious of. And in the beginning, practice mindfulness when you're doing enjoyable tasks to make it easier to stay in the experience. It doesn't matter if you're practicing while driving your car, drinking coffee, taking a shower, or walking around the block. What matters is that you practice. Take a deeper breath when you next inhale. After some mindfulness practice, experiment with tasks that you typically don't like, you don't enjoy. You'll find something very relieving. The task isn't as tedious or unpleasant as you thought it would be. You'll just do what you do, and who knows? Since you're calm, you might find more enjoyable ways to do what needs to be done. As simple as meditation and mindfulness are, these practices can be personally challenging. So approach these skills as if you were learning how to dance a new dance step, or if you were trying to master a piece of music or refine your table tennis skills. Give yourself some time and understand that your efforts are beneficial, and don't depend on any certain experience in your meditation. Try not to think of the outcome. If your mind is busy, you're enhancing your ability to concentrate and witness. If your mind is quiet, you're accessing inner quiet and calm. So we encourage you to keep your appointment with meditation. Give a little of yourself and your time to your meditation, and it will give you much in return. Taking another deep breath, let's move into a pranayama or breath work practice of 4, 7, 8 breath. Inhaling to the count of 4, pausing the breath to the count of 7, exhaling to the count of 8, letting yourself be free to change the numbers to something that's more comfortable for you or to count a little faster through the numbers. Something extraordinary happens when you live with openness, possibility, and compassion. You discover as you move through your day that you will feel real, engaged in your life, and you'll better have the capacity to deal with stress and anxiety as it arises. The teachings of yoga have given us principles to live by that are truly healing and can help us fulfill our destiny of finding real happiness and inner peace. As we practice, we discover our stress and our anxiety lessening moment by moment. Let the next breath in roll a little more deeply. And as you're ready, begin to rock your head from left to right, very slowly moving your chin and nose out of the center over toward each shoulder and back. Watching your breathing, staying mindful. Let's bring our chin and nose back to center and we'll roll over slowly onto one side. From there, press ourselves up and away from the floor, coming into a comfortable seated position, hips elevated, lengthening through the spine as we press down on the sits bones and lift up through the crown of our head, arms relaxed by our sides. We'll take an inhale, next breathing with the arms out and up, moving towards the center above our heads, palms come together, and we'll exhale, hands can lower straight down the center to our heart. Closing down our eyes, let your next exhale lower your chin toward the chest as we bow to the divine within us. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Inhale to lift your chin up away from your chest. Flutter open your eyes, release your hands, and thank you all so much for joining me in yoga this semester to reduce stress and anxiety. Take care. See you soon. Hi, Stretch. My buddy. You're a little late.